podcast. Your host, Dr. Kelly Ray, is a renowned mindset coach and counselor, often referred to as the inner critic tamer. With a passion for guiding individuals through life's challenges, she specializes in personal growth and emotional healing. In each episode, Dr. Kelly Ray shares invaluable insights, practical strategies, and relatable stories designed to inspire you to take that first step toward positive change. So, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready to dive deep into meaningful conversations that empower you on your journey. Let's welcome Dr. Kelly Ray.
Hey there. Welcome back to the Guinea of the Week podcast. I'm Dr. Kelly Ray. I'm your host. And if this is your first time joining, thank you so much. Hope that you find value here and that you decide to subscribe so you can get weekly updates here. This space exists for one reason, to have real conversations about what it means to be human in a world that feels at times overwhelming, uncertain, and incredibly noisy. Each week we explore emotional awareness, nervous system regulation, personal growth, and the deeper inner work that helps us navigate life with a little more steadiness and a little more compassion for ourselves and others. Because let's be honest, sometimes getting through the week, it's no small thing. This today is going to be one of those episodes that I didn't plan in a traditional sense. Usually I spend, quite a bit of time doing research to, bring topics and educational tools and tips and that to help us get through whatever might be going on at the time. And this episode's a little different because it actually came from a moment, a real recent moment in my own life. A real moment that stopped me and stayed with me in a way that, quite honestly, I was caught off guard and didn't expect. And sometimes when those things happen, it's really a gift that you didn't know that you may have needed, or it just shows up and you're like, wow. And as I've been sitting with it, I've realized there's something really important here that I think a lot of you might need to hear. Because I think one of the hardest parts about doing this kind of inner work, personal growth, healing, moving through cycles of life, is it's not knowing if what you're doing is actually working. Is it going to pay off? Are you going to reach the goal or the desired outcome? You're doing the journaling, you're becoming more aware, you're paying attention to your triggers, you're paying attention to your languaging, you're trying to respond differently. And yet, there are moments where you still feel like, am I changing at all? Is any of this actually making a difference? And that's what I want to talk about today. Because what if you're looking for the evidence in the wrong place? We're so used to effort equalizing visual results, right? For example, if you want to lose weight, you change how you eat, you move your body more, and eventually you see the number change. If you want to save money, you create a budget, you become more mindful of your spending, and you see your account grow. There's proof. There's something tangible that tells you what you're doing is working. But healing, that inner work, the nervous system regulation, the shadow work, the breaking patterns, it doesn't always work like that. You don't always get immediate visible proof. And that's where a lot of people start to question themselves. Because they're doing the work, but they're not seeing the results in the way they expected. So I want to bring you into a moment that shifted something for me. My daughter Amira has been on her own journey with her skin. She's had some skin issues since she was in middle school and has done a lot of various treatments over the years, done a lot of various changing of diet, changing of products, changing of how she's sleeping, how she's moving through the day. You name it, she could be an expert in the field. That's how much she has dedicated herself to this. And, being her mom, getting her to these appointments, helping her and supporting her through this, because it's difficult, right? To have to deal with things that are out of your control. And like many things, what she was going through was not just physical. There's emotion tied to it. Confidence, vulnerability, imagining that as a teen. And recently she had an appointment that didn't go the way it was supposed to. She had done her due diligence. She had done her research. She had done what she felt was her best investigative work to schedule a medical grade treatment for some aftercare. And so she went to this appointment, and it didn't go very well. Suffice it to say, it did not go well. There was a treatment that had happened that wasn't expected, nor necessarily the desired treatment that she went in for. She went in for one particular procedure, and upon the medical recommendation, even though it was a wrong recommendation, we trust the experts to know more than we do, right? That's what they went to school for. That's what their specialty is. And so there's a certain level of trust that we put in professionals to help us with things that we need help with. And that's exactly what she did. And after this experience, the whole thing just was one upset after another. No post-care, no communication outside of using ChatGPT, communication responses from the medical office to her. A whole lot went into this. So she had asked me, because they didn't even give like a treatment plan. And I know I'm being kind of evasive here because I'm trying to be respectful of her situation, to not delve too deeply into it to you. But she had decided that, because it disrupted her weekend with her family, because it was unexpected. It was just a consultation, but it turned into more than that. That she was going to contact this office and request a refund for this experience, this treatment that was not right, and all of that. So she had asked me, hey, I was wondering if you could be on the phone with me when I call this office, because I think it would be helpful if I had another set of ears to hear, what they had to say. Absolutely, of course, I'll be there. I'll be on the phone with you. She wasn't looking for someone to take over. She wasn't looking for somebody to handle it for her. She was just looking for someone to be there. And I remember thinking, wow, that alone is pretty powerful, that you're asking for support. You're asking somebody to stand alongside you while you do the heavy lifting. And And I'll explain why that seems like a powerful thing in a minute. Because that's something that a lot of us were never taught to do. I know with my own life, it was just easier to avoid it. It was easier not to speak up because there was a consequence that happens when you spoke up. So for me to have her ask for support without giving up her voice, I was like, absolutely, I'll be on the phone. So I'm sitting outside in my car, outside the gym, because I was just getting ready to go in when she asked me to do that. And she three-wayed me into this call, and we were on hold waiting for them to get on. And I immediately realized, oh man, I know myself. And I know myself big time, because right now I feel like a mama bear who's ready to go down and just do some severe damage. Because how dare you, one, do this to my child, cause pain to her, and two, you need to deal with this. So, but that wasn't what she was asking of me, and at that moment, but that I knew that part of me was coming out, that part that wants to be extremely protective, that part that wants to just lash out and hurt anyone who's hurt my kid. And if you know, you know. So at that moment, I made a very intentional decision. Seemingly insignificant, but it was significant to me. I put my phone on mute because I knew that as soon as the conversation was going to start, my temptation would be to just tear into these people. And I knew that that's not what was happening here. That's not what she asked for. So I was like protecting myself from myself by putting on my mute on the phone. Because I cared enough not to react. In this way, I could react however I wanted and nobody would even know. I knew if I needed to say something, I would have to consciously choose to take myself off mute instead of jumping in automatically. And as I sat there, listening, I start to notice something. It wasn't just what she was saying. It was how she was showing up. Her tone, her presence, her energy. She was calm. She was grounded. She was clear. She was advocating for herself without being aggressive, without shutting down, without over-explaining. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is different. Because if I'm being really honest with you right now, that's not how I would have responded at her age. My response would have come from a completely different place. More reaction, more emotion, more needing to control the situation or fix it. And at that moment, as I was witnessing this, I felt tears begin to roll down my cheeks. I didn't cry because of the situation. I cried because what I realized while listening to her, she didn't become what I had become to survive. She didn't have to. And something in me just softened because I saw it. My healing, the work that I've done over the years, it worked. But not in the way I thought it would. Because I think for so many of us, we expect to feel dramatically different. We expect to wake up one day and think, wow, look at me, I'm healed. But what if that's not how it shows up? What if you don't always see it in yourself first? What if sometimes you see it in what no longer gets passed down? And I do want to say this, because I think it's important to be honest about it. You can feel moments of change along the way. There are times where you notice, I handled that differently. Or, wow, I didn't react the same way. You see glimpses of it, but the depth of it, the significance of it, doesn't always fully land right away. Sometimes it takes a moment like this, where it's reflected back to you in a way you can't ignore, in a way you never expected to see it. We've been taught to measure progress by what we can see, by what feels different, by what looks different on the outside. But some of the most important changes in your life will never show up on the surface first. Sometimes healing looks like pausing instead of reacting, catching yourself mid-pattern, choosing something different even if it's small, feeling something instead of pushing it away, choosing to put yourself on mute and trust the process. That's nervous system work. That's regulation. That's the real work, and it's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's subtle. It's quiet, but it's powerful. And sometimes it shows up in your relationships, in how you allow others to treat you, in what you no longer tolerate, in how you respond instead of react. And if I'm being completely transparent with you, there's a part of me that almost didn't want to take credit for that. Maybe it's humility. But maybe it's because I still see the areas where I'm growing. But there's this feeling of, she's just always been that way. And I think about her from the time she was 6 weeks old, and specifically in a moment in our lives where she was sitting in the back seat of my car in the parking garage of the San Francisco airport. A story that one day I hope to tell. And till the present moment. And there's this deep sense in me that she wasn't just given to me to raise her. We were given to each other to grow, to heal, to change things together, to break patterns, to break generational patterns together. And maybe that's the part we don't talk about enough. that healing isn't always one-sided. Sometimes it's a relationship. Sometimes it's a reflection. And sometimes it shows up in someone else in a way that allows you to finally see it in yourself. So if you're in a season right now where you're doing the work and it feels slow or messy or like nothing is really changing, I want you to consider this. What if something is changing? You're just not measuring it the right way. Instead of asking, why don't I feel different yet? Maybe ask, am I more aware than I used to be? Am I reacting a little slower? Am I questioning things I used to accept? Am I starting to see patterns I couldn't see before? Even if you're only shifting 10%, that matters. That's movement. That's change. And that's how this work actually happens. So maybe healing doesn't always look like this big dramatic transformation within you. Maybe it doesn't feel like clarity right away, or peace, or certainty. Maybe sometimes it feels like questioning, like slowing down, like not quite recognizing yourself in the middle of it. But maybe, just maybe, it looks like the cycle quietly ending through you. And if that's where you're at right now, I just want you to know something is happening, even if you can't fully see it yet. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for today. Thank you so much for spending part of your week with me. And I look forward to being a part with you again next week. Until then, please know I send you so much
Thank you for joining
love.
us for another episode of the Getting Through the Week podcast with Dr. Kelly Ray. If you're looking to connect with her or schedule an appointment, here's how you can reach her. Follow her on Instagram at AskDrKellyRay. Check out her Facebook page at Dr. Kelly Ray B. Find her on TikTok at Dr. Kelly Ray. Visit her website at drkellyray.com. Or send her an email at drkellyray@gmail.com. Until next week, Dr. Kelly Ray sends you so much love.